Hello everybody and welcome to the unboxing and review of the True Heart Intuitive Tarot by Rachel True. Now, if you don't know who she is, I think every 90s kid maybe knows who she is. But if you haven't watched the original movie, The Craft, I know they did a remake of it. I personally didn't really love it, but that's only my perspective, of course. But the original The Craft movie was like these four witches and they all represented the four elements. And she was one of them, Rachel True. I loved her in that movie. And when I found out that she made a tarot deck, I was like, my little 90s heart was like, yes, I need this deck. So you have a box. This box, it's not a bad box, but it's very cardboardy. You know, I feel like there are some decks out there that have more of a beautiful, it's not even a beautiful box, maybe more of a sturdy box. But honestly, when a tarot deck comes in a box this big, I usually never keep it in the box, so I don't care how the quality of the box. This box is actually gonna get tossed away. But let's get into it. So it opens up like that, just slides open. You have your book, a pretty large book too, and then you have the deck that comes split in two. So especially for me, when a deck comes split in two like this, I don't know, I guess I'm lazy. I never like split it apart and like, oh, let's put it back all neatly. Maybe some of you do, and that's okay. We all have our little quirks. But I usually never keep it in the box like that. I'm gonna probably find a tarot bag to go with it. Okay, let's put the box away and let's get into the book real quick. So here's the True Heart Intuitive Tarot Guidebook. Let's open it up. It's actually not a bad book. It's actually pretty good. Dedicated to Pamela Colman-Smith. I love that. And all who came before. So Pamela Colman-Smith, if you don't know, she's the creator of the original Rider-Waite tarot deck. Cards designed by Pamela Colman-Smith. She was the painter of these cards. So I love that. You have your table of contents. Introduction, pretty big introduction. Getting started, which I love that, because then you learn kind of like how to tap into your intuition, get focused, get comfortable, get centered. There's a bit of meditation going on. So this book, honestly, if this deck is your brand new first deck, the book will actually guide you not only with the meanings of the cards, but also getting centered and tapping into your intuition. So I love that. Learning to pick up energy, I think that's really interesting. Getting grounded in nature, and the backstory of the tarot and the backstory of how this deck came to be as well. Choosing a tarot deck, I love that. Because I mean, obviously if you're reading this book, if you have it in your hands, you already bought the deck. But this is cool too, because what if you start working with it and you're like, actually it doesn't really speak to me. How do I choose another tarot deck? Or just if you want to expand your collection like I have. And carrying and feeding your deck, I love that. Setting up an altar if you so choose to, and keeping a notebook, which I do for my tarot readings. I think a lot of people do as well. And then connecting with your cards. Using the actress way, that's actually kind of cool. I love that, because she's an actress. So I find that to be really interesting, how to connect with your cards. And then we dig into the deck. Tarot by the numbers. I love this because it gives you a little bit of a numerology as a whole. And then you have the four suits. She separates them, giving you like a quick snapshot of what they mean. And then I love this, putting the suit energy and numerical, oh God, and numerical value together. And then the court cards. So you have a bit of explanation of the court cards. And if you choose to read reversals or not. A lot of professionals out there don't read reversals. Some do. It's entirely up to you. No one's gonna look down on you. And if they do, forget about them. How to shuffle, pulling cards, reading for others. So this book, even though it's not a super thick book, it's offering you a lot. It's offering you kind of like a very quick snapshot view of how to connect and how to do a tarot reading for yourself and for other people. I love that. So then we get into tarot spreads, which is super awesome. You have your 1 card pull, 1 card, 1 question. You have a 3 card spread, and then the Celtic Cross, which is the classic 10 card spread that a lot of people, tarot readers, do. And then this one, 11 card Mother Peace spread. How cool is that? And she walks you through the whole thing. So I love that. I guess this is more of the Mother Peace. And then you have your 10 card relationship spread and the True Heart Tarot 5 card insight spread. Here's still the insight spread going on, explain to you what it is, and then final thoughts on spreads. Then we get into the major arcana. So this book is pretty involved, as you can see. Now we get into the Fool. You have a black and white depiction of the cards. The high vibe means when a card comes upright. The low vibe means if it comes up reversed. And then you have the hero's journey. Oh, pretty much like a full, is it one page? No, you actually get quite a few pages of what the Fool means. You're actually getting like 3 pages. Oh, one thing too that I want to show you guys. So you have these little dots here. It separates. So she actually, so this whole top part here, like if pulled in low vibe, which is in reverse, and here's if you pulled it in high vibe, which is the upright position. Now, after these little dots, you actually get a bit of history about Rachel True. So here she kind of talks about, I know the script for the craft was attracted to me because blah, 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 blah. So she actually gives you a history going back to the actor's way over here. Oh, here it is, the actor's way. This is kind of like what it means. She actually gives you a little bit of a biography, I guess, if you're so interested. You don't have to, but you have the option to read a biography of hers, a story from her life and how it relates to the Fool. So I kind of like that, because one way to learn tarot and really memorize and really kind of like embody the tarot is you take the keywords of the cards and you relate them to your life. When was I the Fool? When was I the beginner? When was I the child or the adventurer or the explorer? These are all keywords for the Fool, right? Or if it's reversed, when was I afraid to explore? When was I afraid to begin something? So I love that. So here we got the Magician, high vibe, low vibe. You get your high vibe page pretty much. And then if pulled in low vibe, and then the same thing, you have your bit of like a biography going on. This goes for the whole entirety of the major arcana. Let's get to the minor arcana. So the minor arcana, you get a full page, just a little bit less love, I guess. So you have a black and white depiction of the card. You have, of course, the high vibe and the low vibe. And then you have the paragraphs over here of if you pulled it high vibe, and if you pulled in low vibe, you get a shorter paragraph. Same thing for the 6 of Wands. Same thing for pretty much the whole of the minor arcana. High vibe, low vibe keywords, and then you get more into the paragraph of the imagery and what it means. Let's get towards the end and see what else we get. I guess that's pretty much it. So it ends with the King of Discs, and then that's the end of the book. All right, so that's our book. Let's get into the cards, which I'm going to need my scissors to get rid of this plastic. Let's not hurt myself. Okay. So here we go, half of the deck. I really like the back. I really like the backs. They're really cool. And as you can see, they're pretty reversible. So that's awesome. Okay. Let's open up the other half. And put the two halves together. Okay, so here we go. Okay, I will show you guys all of them. Here's the backs. The cardstock is pretty flexible, but not too much. I actually don't mind. I know that I think this deck got some hate because people were saying the cardstock is shit. I don't agree. I don't mind the cardstock. It's not the stiffest one, but it's also not the most flexible. I kind of like it. I'm not gonna lie. I do. I'm okay with the cardstock. Okay. I will show you guys all of them. They are in order. So if you don't want to see all of them, you can skip ahead, you can skip around, or just jump this part altogether. So here we're starting with the Fool, which is our cover art. I love that she blends with the sky. I think that's such a clever but beautiful way. Here we've got the Magician. She's pretty powerful. What I love about this deck too is that it stays very true to the traditional, right, tarot, but there's so much beauty and symbolism in the cards. There's so much color. And like, I love the cleverness of the clothes kind of weaving in and out of the artwork. I don't know, I like that. I think it's such a clever way of doing the art. Also, I love the inclusivity of this deck. We've got men, women, we've got queer people, we've got, of course, people of color. So that's what I look for in my tarot decks, is inclusivity. I want to see a little bit of everyone, because the tarot is a depiction of life, right? In the 78 cards, different combinations, reversal and upright, they're supposed to take us through life and mimic life and portray life and all the ups and downs and all the people in our lives, all the men, women, non-binary, trans, people of color, indigenous, doesn't matter. Because we come across all these different people, and I want the tarot to depict that. I love this moon. I love the Metatron cube. This world is one of my favorite worlds. I love it. Because like the 4 elements are like in her hair and also in the earrings, and also as like a tattoo on her arm. It's modern, it's interesting, it's so clever. Also, this deck has one of the most beautiful aces that I've ever seen. I love the Ace of Cups. Then you get, of course, this beautiful backing that kind of mimics the back over here of the cups, for example. The Two of Cups, of course, Taj Mahal, made for love. 3 of Cups. You got the 4 of Cups, and then it's like tear in the sky, and I was like God watching, or goddess watching, whatever you vibe with. This reminds me of a Salvador Dali painting. The 7 of Cups. This 9 of Cups is gorgeous. I mean, look at all the color. It's beautiful. Then 10 of Cups is just one of the best cards. So this deck, instead of calling it a page, it's called a princess. The knight is the prince. The queen is the queen. And the king is the king. But it changes the pages and the knights to princess and prince. See how cool is this Ace of Discs? I don't know, the aces in this deck are just super cool to me. I love it. You've got the 2 of Discs, or, you know, pentacles, depending on whatever whichever deck you used first before this one. But in this one, they call it discs. Got the 6, 7. Now, certain imagery of this deck, especially like, for example, the 7 of Discs, it intrigues me. It's not, to me, it's not, oh, I love this 9 of Discs. She's so beautiful. This deck is gorgeous. And this 10 of Discs too. But there's definitely some imagery that intrigues me and something that makes me think, right? I'm like, why all the faces? Or why the eye in the sky? Or the 5 of Discs that we got earlier, we had this eyeball, kind of like, it's like you dug this hole and there's an eyeball in the bottom of it. I don't get that. I don't get it right away. Maybe you were looking at it going like, bro, it's obvious. Oh, I love this Ace of Wands. How cool is that? But to me, it's not obvious. And I love that. I love when an artwork isn't quite obvious, because I want to read from the book. I want to spend time with a deck. I want to work with it a little bit more closely until I do get it, until I do understand it. And it becomes easy. But with so many decks out there, right, there's got to have something that pulls you in. In this deck, to me anyway, it definitely does that. Right? Like this 8 of Wands, how interesting is this 8 of Wands? Especially with like the sections of the brain. How cool is that? it kind of brings in some of the mental health or mental self-care that a lot of us are in desperate need right now and are definitely in the path of. So I love that. This Ace of Wands, love it. Sorry, Ace of Swords. Pay attention. Two of Swords. Of course, the iconic Three of Swords. Love this Four of Swords. This Five of Swords is very interesting. Very powerful too. The Six. Love that. Like his fingers like crossing, kind of like you're telling a lie, but you're crossing your fingers. And instead of giving a bouquet of flowers, you're giving a bouquet of swords. The Eight of Swords. Oh, this Knight of Swords, of course. Mental anguish, right? Sleepless nights, stress, anxiety. The 10. Then we get the Princess, the Prince, the Queen, and finally the King of Swords. These are the backs once again. So yeah, this is the... Where's the box? Right here. I put the box away. So this was the unboxing and review of the True Heart Intuitive Tarot. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys found this deck as beautiful as I have. I love this deck and I love working with it. All right, guys, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time.